So, you've decided to start a company with 0 employees. Maybe you read one too many tweets from a guy with a Lambo in his profile picture. Maybe you watched a founder interview where someone said, "We're a team of 2 and we're disrupting insurance," and thought, "I can do that, but less." Or maybe you just really, genuinely hate people and want to build something without having to ever say the words, "Let's circle back." Whatever got you here, the question everyone in tech is currently losing sleep, hair, and cholesterol over is this: can one person with a laptop and a fleet of AI agents actually compete with an entire team of humans? Not do okay, not make a little side income. Actually compete. Actually build something real. And as a content creator, it is my sworn duty to answer this question with a confidence I absolutely do not have. To understand why this question is even interesting, you need to understand how genuinely absurd the old model was. And I don't mean ancient history. I mean like 3 years ago. Starting a company used to require assembling what can only be described as a human Voltron. First, you needed a developer, because software doesn't write itself. You needed a designer, because your developer's visual taste peaked at gray rectangles on white backgrounds, and your users deserve slightly better than that. You needed a salesperson, because "we built it, they will come" is not a go-to-market strategy, it's a prayer. You needed a customer support person to respond to emails from people asking why the app isn't working, when the app is working fine and the problem is them. Then you needed a marketing person. A social media person, which is somehow different from the marketing person. A content person, which is different from the social media person. A product manager to tell everyone what to build. And a manager to manage the product manager who is managing everyone else. If you're lucky, an operations person. If you're unlucky, the operations person is you, at 11 p.m., trying to understand what a W-9 is. You also needed a lawyer, then a second lawyer to translate what the first lawyer said. An accountant, an HR person, which, when you only have 4 employees, is just a person whose full-time job is creating Google Forms that nobody fills out. This whole apparatus had to be assembled before you had made a single dollar. Congratulations, you have built a company. It is burning $80,000 a month in salaries, and your product still doesn't have a working login page. The traditional solution to this was venture capital. Find someone to give you a few $1,000,000, spend it on these humans, and hope that somewhere in the chaos, a product emerges and people pay for it before the money runs out. A lot of companies ran this playbook. A lot of those companies are now listed on websites that track startup deaths, next to a one-line obituary that says, "ran out of runway." But here's the thing. A small number of maniacs figured out a different way, and the numbers are genuinely deranged. In 2012, Instagram sold to Facebook for $1 billion. They had 13 employees. 13. That's barely enough to cover a shift at a Subway. $1 billion, tens of millions of users, millions of photos processed daily, built by a group of people small enough that they could all fit in one Uber. The whole thing ran on AWS and a skeleton team that moved fast enough that hiring felt like a waste of time they didn't have. WhatsApp makes Instagram look bloated. When Facebook acquired it for $19 billion in 2014, WhatsApp had 55 employees serving 450 million active users. That's roughly 8 million users per employee. For context, that number would give any traditional tech executive a medical episode. John Coombe, one of the founders, hated bureaucracy so sincerely that he simply didn't build any. No layers, no meetings, no middle management, just engineers, a product that worked, and an acquired allergy to hiring. Craigslist, famously, still runs on approximately 50 people and generates somewhere between $600 million and $1 billion a year in revenue. The website looks like it was designed in 2001 because it was designed in 2001, and nobody has changed it because nobody needs to. It is the cockroach of internet businesses, ugly, unkillable, and printing money in the background while everyone ignores it. The pattern isn't that these companies had no people. It's that they were pathologically committed to not adding people until they had absolutely exhausted every other option.
Software replaced headcount wherever it could. Every hire was a last resort, not a milestone. Now imagine running that same playbook, except the software you're replacing people with can actually hold a conversation, write your copy, debug your code, and answer customer emails at 4 a.m. without filing a complaint about work-life balance. Here's the pitch. You, one person. AI agents for coding, design, marketing, customer support, data analysis, legal research, and copywriting. You wake up, drink your sad protein coffee, open your laptop, and direct a fleet of non-equity demanding robots to build your empire while you do the thinking. Can this get you to $1 billion valuation? Probably not. I'm sorry, that's not what you clicked on this video for. But it's the truth, and I'm contractually obligated to include at least one of those.
The problem isn't AI's abilities. Those are genuinely impressive and improving at a rate that is either exciting or terrifying depending on how employed you currently are. The problem is everything that isn't a task. Investors don't wire 9 figures to a person and their API keys. They back companies they believe can survive chaos, scale past the founder, and execute without collapsing the moment something unexpected happens, which, in startups, is every week. I replaced my team with AI and it's going great does not yet inspire that kind of confidence. Maybe in a few years. Right now, the people writing the big checks are not ready to bet on a solo operator whose entire company lives inside a system prompt. There's also the trust problem that nobody on Twitter talks about because it doesn't make a good thread. Enterprise customers, the ones with the big contracts, want to talk to a human being. They want a salesperson they can have a call with.
An account manager they can passive-aggressively CC when something goes wrong, a support team that can be held responsible. An AI agent, no matter how polished, cannot absorb blame. And blame absorption is genuinely one of the most valuable services a B2B business provides. You are not just selling a product. You are selling someone to be upset at when the product fails. That person needs to be a person. Alright, full solo AI company off the table, for now. But what about the more achievable version of this? A real, profitable, sustainable business run by 1 or 2 people with a heavy AI stack instead of a department. Is it actually cheaper? Yes, with a but. A mid-level developer costs somewhere between $120,000 and $180,000 a year, not counting benefits, equity, the 3 weeks it takes them to onboard, the 2 weeks they take off in December, and the week they spend adjusting to your codebase before writing a single line of anything useful.
An AI coding tool costs a couple $100s a month, works at 3 a.m., never asks to be a tech lead, and does not have opinions about the team's Jira setup. Marketing copy, customer support triage, data summaries, internal documentation, social posts, research, scheduling, first draft, everything. AI is now genuinely capable of handling large portions of all of this. Not perfectly. Good enough to replace a junior or mid-level hire in many cases, if a competent person is pointing it in the right direction. The key phrase there is, if a competent person is pointing it in the right direction, which we will come back to shortly. Is it more efficient? Also yes, with a different but. Being smaller makes you faster. It makes you cheaper. It makes your decisions happen in hours instead of weeks. It removes all the coordination overhead that makes big companies slow. The meetings about meetings, the alignment sessions, the Confluence pages nobody reads. A 2-person AI-powered team can move in ways that make a 20-person traditional team look like they're operating through a fax machine. But being smaller also makes you fragile. You lose redundancy. You lose the person who is genuinely better than you at the thing you're bad at. And you, specifically you, the person watching this, are bad at several things. I don't know which things, but they exist. And when you're a 1-person show, there is nobody catching what you're missing. With AI, 1 person can beat a slow team. They can beat a disorganized team. They can beat a team that's too big to make a decision without a 3-week approval process and a stakeholder document. Against those teams, an AI-augmented solo founder is a genuinely terrifying competitor. You will ship in a week what takes them a quarter. You will iterate on feedback before they finish the meeting where they discussed having a meeting about it.
But 1 person with AI cannot consistently beat a great team. A great team has people who are genuinely better than you at specific things, not because they have more software tools, but because they've spent a decade thinking about one problem. A great team catches the decisions you didn't realize you were making. A great team has people who disagree with each other productively, which sounds exhausting and is, but is also how you avoid building the wrong thing confidently for 2 years. AI will give you leverage. It will not give you taste. It will not give you judgment. It will not tell you which problem is worth solving when you have 6 options and limited time. It can generate 100 ideas. It cannot tell you which one matters. These are still, stubbornly, human jobs. Here's what I think people get wrong about the one-person AI company dream. They look at everything AI can do: write code, generate designs, answer customers, analyze data, summarize documents, and they conclude that what's left for humans is basically a formality, like the human is just there to press enter. This is incorrect in a way that is going to be extremely expensive for anyone who builds a company on top of that assumption. AI is very good at executing defined tasks. It is not good at knowing which tasks matter. It cannot take responsibility for outcomes. It cannot decide what your company stands for when the answer isn't obvious. It cannot make someone trust you. It cannot look a customer in the eye, metaphorically, over a Zoom call, and make them feel like someone actually cares whether their problem gets solved. The founder who uses AI to handle their support queue is more efficient. The founder who uses AI because they think it eliminates the need to actually care about their customers is going to find out the hard way that it doesn't.
The people who are going to win with AI aren't the ones treating it as a replacement for thinking. They're the ones using it as a force multiplier for their own judgment, doing more than they could have done alone, while staying the person who is actually responsible for what comes out the other end. The AI generates. You decide. That's not a temporary arrangement until the AI gets smarter. That's the model. The future doesn't belong to people who've replaced their team with bots. It belongs to people with exceptional judgment who know exactly which things only they can do, and who have ruthlessly delegated everything else to machines that don't need health insurance. That's a hard person to compete against. It's also a hard person to become.
But if you're the type of person who just watched a 13-minute video about running a company alone on a random afternoon instead of doing literally any work, you might be exactly the right kind of delusional to pull it off. Good luck. And maybe hire one person, just one, someone who's good at the thing you're terrible at. You'll know which thing. It'll be the one you've been avoiding thinking about since you started watching this.